Hi there, this is Lee. And with this video, I'm talking about Stephanie Anderson. She's an independent candidate for Congress for the 23rd District in Florida. Yes, that one. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, her seat. Stephanie Anderson has emerged. She's the independent candidate. She's green leaning. She's Jill Stein leaning. And she's challenging Debbie Wasserman Schultz for her congressional seat. We've seen Tim Canova involved in a primary challenge against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, with the assistance of President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, Congressman John Lewis, and then presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, was somehow able to prevail against Tim Canova. The big guns came out and outmatched Tim Canova, who put up a really great challenge to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He forced her to actually compete for what she felt she was entitled to. So she brought out the big guns and she prevailed. And so the primary challenge has concluded, but the general election is still ongoing. Stephanie Anderson is an independent candidate, and so she'll be competing against Debbie Wasserman Schultz as an independent for the 23rd District Congressional seat. And so, again, like in previous videos where I, wanted to give a pep talk to listeners who thought the revolution was over. They thought it was over when Bernie Sanders conceded or endorsed for Hillary Clinton and suspended his campaign. They thought the revolution was over when Debbie Wasserman Schultz prevailed against Tim Canova. It's not over. And if you'll notice a certain pattern playing itself out, I'll describe it this way. I've also spoken of down ballot candidates in Michigan. Something really wonderful is happening up there. Michigan is greening, and it's just great. I talked about the 22nd district in Michigan. The fact that there was what I thought was an overlap of a progressive Democrat versus a Green who is always progressive, but there isn't. It turns out that the progressive Democrat that was in a race for the 22nd district actually, unfortunately, lost a primary challenge. And so the progressive Democrat is no longer in the race. That means the Green challenger for the 22nd District in Michigan has a clear shot at challenging at the general election for that seat. That Green is not running against a progressive Democrat. And so this is what the pattern is. It's playing out when we're talking about revolution. We'll start at the top. Okay. Bernie Sanders was the progressive Democrat at the top of the ticket in a primary challenge against center-right establishment Democrat and Hillary Clinton for the presidency. Hillary Clinton, through various mechanisms and trickeration devices, prevailed against Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders took her to the mat, made her come out of the entitlement seat and actually fight for the presidency. Nothing's given. No one gives you anything. You have to fight for it. And Bernie Sanders made Hillary Clinton come out, uncloak, and come out and actually compete and campaign for the office of presidency. Bernie Sanders did technically lose the primary, but we know how that really went. But anyway, Hillary Clinton prevailed and Bernie Sanders endorsed. And people said, oh, it's over. But no, it wasn't. Jill Stein came out of left field. Literally. And so now Jill Stein is competing in the general election. Primary's over. Jill Stein is competing for the office of presidency. She's competing to win. She's not doing safe state strategy. She wants to win, and she wants her Greens to win. So she is competing against not only Hillary Clinton, but Donald Trump and Gary Johnson for the White House. So one progressive falls, another takes this place. Jill Stein is continuing the revolution. She's taken up the baton, and she's running it towards the White House against Hillary Clinton, against Donald Trump, and Gary Johnson. And it's happening down ballot as well, like in Michigan. The progressive Democrat lost the primary challenge. The Green is taking up the baton and running it to the general election. The progressive revolution is living on. And it's the same case in Florida. The progressive challenger, Tim Canova, did not prevail in the primary. The establishment center-right Democrat candidate, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, prevailed in the primary. And so Tim Canova did not win, but Debbie Wasserman Schultz is still not safe. That seat is still not safe. There is a challenger out of left field, not a green-leaning independent. She's an independent who leans towards Jill Stein. Her name is Stephanie Anderson, and I'll post her contact information, like her website and her Facebook, and she's got her social media all set up. She's now taken up that baton in Florida in the 23rd district, and she's going to be running it to the general election. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz, no one's going to give her anything. She's going to have to work and campaign and prove that she deserves to have that seat. So that's how the revolution is going. It is not over. Like Bernie Sanders told all of us, it is more than one man. It's about us. It's about the revolution. It's not just about the man. And, sometimes it's about the woman. But then, not really. It's still about the revolution. It's not a cult of personality. It's about the revolution. That's what we're working for. So get familiar with those platforms and those issues, because where Tim Canova passed on the baton, those issues are going to be living on. It's going forward. It's not over. That's the concern when you put your hopes and dreams into a personality, into a person, rather than into an idea or a revolution. Ideas live on. Revolution lives on. Progress lives on. Cult of personality, no, it has no place. And so that's why it's good to pay attention to what's happening in the races, that's happening down ballot. And it's good to know what each candidate's issues really are. I've got a little bit of information about Stephanie Anderson. Her website is stephanieandersonforcongress.com. She's got a bio on there. She's got a Master of Science degree in Business Management. And then she also had an undergraduate degree in Business Law and Commerce and Business, and she had a double minor in English and Political Science. So she's got a lot on the table here. She's worked with local economic development officials. She's worked in the arena of gaining grants. She's a former adjunct professor of business and business law. She's been on several boards. She's been an active volunteer. She's worked with the community. She's been recognized by George H.W. Bush for volunteer work. So she's in the mix. She's in the mix. She's got a daughter who's in college, so of course she's concerned about college debt and the future of our planet and things like that. She's got skin in the game. And so you can find her, you can contact her, you can get familiar with her background, her platform, her issues. You can look at her speeches. She's got some upcoming events. She's actually going to be traveling up to Des Moines, Iowa to speak at the Capitol, state capitol in Des Moines, Iowa, on behalf of Jill Stein. And then after that, she's actually going to go to North Dakota to assist the Sioux Nation with their protest and environmental activism on the tribal lands against the Black Snake oil pipeline that's under construction up there. So Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka are already there in Sioux territory. And then Stephanie Anderson is going to be traveling to actually join the Sioux as well. And so that's the revolution right there. That's the progressive revolution. Caring about our people, caring about our environment, caring about our land and our water, caring about our indigenous population, caring about our future. This is progressive politics. This is Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka setting an example, being the change that they want to see, being leaders to this entire nation of what we need to be focusing on. The construction engineers at that site actually turned German Shepherds on people, and the German Shepherds attacked under orders, and they bit the protesters. They were macing the protesters. They used violence against those protesters, and so Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka are on site now, and hopefully there will be nothing like what occurred over the weekend when they actually sicked dogs on humans who are protesting peacefully protesting at on their own tribal lands. So Stephanie Anderson is going to be joining them. She's she's leaning towards Jill Stein. She's an activist herself. She's a volunteer. She's someone who cares about her community and the environment in her community, what's happening in Florida. And so she's on her way to speak up for progressive issues and to assist Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka. And so that's the revolution that's in Florida. And that's the revolution, being concerned about events and issues in Florida, but then across the nation as well. Stephanie Anderson, and we wish her well. We wish her well. What Tim Canova'S started, the brave fight that he fought, not only against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but the top-down establishment Democratic Party. He started something. Bernie Sanders started something, and then hopefully Jill Stein and Stephanie Anderson will be able to pick up that baton that they handed off and run it the rest of the way. Good luck.